Hey guys, it's Gameface here and welcome back to another video. As you've seen by the title, yes, Mark Goldbridge is on the channel. Yes, I'm interviewing him and it's going to be a really interesting chat with him. Looking forward to it. It's going to be about a 30-minute conversation with him, so hope you guys are really excited for it. Don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. I'd really appreciate you supporting the video, and also subscribe if you haven't already as well. That'd be great too. And check out Mark's links in the description below. All three channels are in there for you to subscribe to him if you haven't already. Don't forget you can also follow me on Twitter at GamefaceHD and on Instagram at GamefaceHD. Links below once again. And without further ado, let's crack on with things. Let's get straight into the interview. Okay, so today I'm joined by a very special guest, Mark Goldbridge from United Stand. Hi Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Pleasure to be on. I've seen your videos.
Thank you very much for coming on, first of all. I was actually meant to ask if you see any of my videos or not. That was one of my first questions.
Yeah, I did. I think it was Draughty sent me it to have a look at. He was very impressed with it. So yeah, it's, it is what it is. There's a lot worse videos than that out about me. Yeah, so no, that was one I could watch. Yeah.
Well, it was part of the reason why I wanted to get you on was because there was some people in the comments section, as there always is, that didn't really fully understand those videos, and some people saw them as hate videos, which I was shocked by. That was never meant to be the intention at all. I was just having a bit of a laugh, and I thought what you do is really funny, it entertains everyone, so I started kind of joining in on that.
Yeah.
So that's partly why I wanted to get you on the channel in the first place, was because I wanted to make sure that people understood that this wasn't a hate thing. I really enjoy what you do. So I'm going to be doing some questions that people have sent in. We obviously go through my own questions as well. So first of all, I want to start off by getting to know more about Mark Goldbridge. There's still a lot of people that seem to believe that Mark Goldbridge is a character. What do you say about that?
I think it's because obviously I do a lot of content, and going back to what you were saying there about like people thinking when there's videos up about me that it might be hate. I mean, there was a clip yesterday, a couple of days ago, I was playing FIFA, and like my striker gets fouled near the centre circle, and I say penalty ref.
Got the legs. He hasn't got the legs. That's a penalty. Oh, what?
Like, yes, it's spontaneous. It's live, and that's the thing, and it's stupid. And so if you do something like that and someone takes a clip of it, then I ain't got a problem with it. And I find it funny myself because it sort of answers that question there. How can you script being live for an hour and a FIFA game? Because I don't know what's going to happen, and I can't have a piece of paper with everything on for every eventuality. So I think that sort of proves that I don't sit there with ideas and things like that. It is spontaneous. As for the Mark Goldbridge thing, well, it's well known that the Mark Goldbridge isn't my real name, and the reason for that, it has been documented before. It was because when I started doing this, I wasn't allowed to use my real name because of the job. So I think people come to it new and think it's a character because they're like, oh, nobody could be like that. But I've said to about everybody, there's a back catalogue of what I've done on the United Stand. I've been cracking jokes and things for a long time, and I am a very spontaneous person. So what people see is what they get.
Yeah. And is it true you've got a second alias name as well? Is that right?
I've heard of this. Is this the female alter ego that we're on?
No, this might. I don't know whether this is actually your real name or not. I'll say it, and if it is, then I'll bleep it out if you want.
Yeah, no worries.
It's.
That's my real name, that is, yeah.
Is it right? Okay, I'll believe that one.
There is a female thing that apparently I ran, which I never did, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, I heard about that. Was it like Susan or something?
Sandra, yeah.
Sandra, that was it, Sandra. Yeah. Never understood where that one came from.
I think it was Liverpool fans, but it seems to have died a death now.
I also wanted to ask, how old are you? A lot of people seem to have varying sort of ages.
Yeah. Well, it's not something I'm going to reveal because I like the mysterious side of it. But I am in my 30s, so so if you're 31, we're in our 30s.
Some people say you look 20.
30. Well, yeah, I do. You're right. So let's leave it at that.
Also, I saw you said the other day that United Stand isn't your full-time job. I'm obviously not expecting you to say what your full-time job is. I appreciate you're not going to say that. But is this something you just do part-time then? Do you work from home, or how does that work?
Look, a lot of people are obsessed with that, and I think I think that's a good thing. I think the more people want to know about you, it just shows that they're interested in what you're doing, so that's fine. Obviously, you need to keep some things back, but look, I definitely do it more than I did used to do it, maybe 2 years ago, because it was very much a part-time thing. I think it's almost derogatory for me to say it's a part-time thing because there's so many people who watch it
Yeah.
and love it. So I would say it's probably my focus. It's certainly the most important thing in my life compared to what I do for my, sort of a day job. But no, I used to have a full-time job. As people used to see me doing videos at lunchtime and on the walk to work. So I don't do that anymore. I sort of had to change things around because of the United stand, but I do still do that sort of work. But a lot of it I do at home, and I can maneuver my hours around it. So when I'm doing FIFA at lunchtime, people will say that's a very long lunch break, and I'm like, well, yeah, I can do that because I've been working since 7 a.m. and I work till 6. So a lot of what I do now is around the United stand and the football stuff that I do. So I'm fortunate in that sense, but it's not my full-time job.
Is it true you also worked in a cheese factory and were a detective at some point?
It is, yeah. I've done most things. I have done most things, which I think is probably given me the sort of outlook I do have on life. Really, that you shouldn't take yourself too seriously when you've worked in a cheese factory. There's nothing wrong with working in a cheese factory.
No, of course.
I've been a welder. I've had paper rounds. I've done bloody sales. I've done a lot because that's what a lot of people end up doing between in their teens and their early 20s when they leave school too early. So don't leave school too early, kids.
Whenever I think of detective, I can't help but think of you as like a pet detective, Ace Ventura. It wasn't that sort of detective, was it?
I've had some funny hairstyles in my life, but not quite that sort of level of quiff. I'd like to try it though. I think that'd do well on a United stand show. But no. The funny thing is, I actually used this in my interview when I was going into the police. Is that why do you want to go in the police? And they still gave me the job despite me saying I really like Midsummer Murders and shows like that because I just wanted to be. Not Midsummer Murders. I've never watched that, but like Inspector Morse would be too old for you. But I like detective shows and stuff like that. So that was the reason I went into that. And also, I was at a stage in my life where if I didn't do something, I was going to end up back in a cheese factory for the rest of my life, and I couldn't stand the smell. So I needed to do something to sort of give me some purpose and a bit of discipline, and it certainly did do that. But yeah, I went into it because I wanted to. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be involved in solving murders. I didn't want to be involved in murders. I just wanted to be involved in solving them. So that's why I went into it. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but I got out at the right time.
I mean, you kind of briefly touched on it at the start of this. I was going to ask you, had you seen my videos? I also wanted to know what you thought of things like Goldbridge World as well on Twitter. Because at first I was told that was you by somebody. But then obviously I quickly found out that you often stream and those clips go off on whilst you're streaming, that sort of thing. But what do you think of things like Goldbridge World and the videos I make and the clips on Twitter and stuff?
I can't quite bring myself to follow Goldbridge World, but I do occasionally. I do occasionally see them and retweet them because they genuinely make me laugh, and I think that is an odd thing when you see a clip of yourself that makes you laugh. But
it's the out of context bit, isn't it?
Yeah. So I do retweet it every now and again. And to be honest with you, I think when it first started, it did retweet a couple of things that it tweeted out a couple of things that I really didn't like. Like there was a couple of things that I thought were just a bit like going to cause me a lot of trouble. But I think what the your video and that sort of thing, if it's ultimately it's taking the piss out of me. I'm open to that. But if you do stuff that's funny and there to be taken the piss out of, then I haven't got a problem with that. And if people enjoy it, and I think that they do, then who am I to deprive the world of my idiocy, really? So. I do enjoy what I do. I don't know how long I'll do it for, and if people want to, enjoy it and cut clips off it, that's absolutely fine. I went through a stage where people were phoning up on the call-ins and being abusive and stuff, and I think that was grinding me down a bit. But this last 6 months, I'm all for a bit of banter, and if I'm subject of it, then that's fine.
Yeah, I've certainly had a lot more positive comments than negative comments on those. Of course, you're always going to get people that criticise and hate and that sort of thing. But from my perspective, all those videos was just a bit of a laugh, really, and sort of sharing the fact that I think what you do is really, really good. And that was all it really was.
No, I liked the way you did it as well, because it's that sort of, the commentary in between it. It worked really well. And like I say, if it wasn't me and it was something else, I think I would have enjoyed it anyway. So the actual style of it, I don't have a problem with it. And I think people who have a problem with stuff like that, then, obviously I've had a clash recently with somebody who does have a problem with stuff like that. And I think, well, don't put yourself in front of a camera if you don't want feedback, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. I wanted to also talk about your analogies. I mean, a lot of these have gone viral, and you say you come up with all these different analogies. Do you come up with those before the video, or are they really spontaneous? How does that work?
I think, look, a lot of them I would say that maybe I've manipulated or reworded because I quite liked them and I've used them for myself. And a lot of them are things that I would use in my day-to-day life or I've heard over my life, such as he's panicking more than a cat burying a crap on a marble floor. I'd heard that one a few years ago and it was slightly different, and I was like, oh, I'd like to use that at some point. So I have a couple in my head now and again, but to be honest, a lot of them, as I've done before, I think it was Brighton rocking, United dropping, and quite clearly there was a better thing to come out than that. So sometimes I don't always get them right. So a lot of the time they are off the cuff, yeah. And obviously the crap ones don't make the memes. I think so. It's only the good ones that make it. There's probably 4 or 5 really bad ones that people just go, yeah. And then you obviously get the odd one now and again. And I do about probably 2 hours of streaming across a day, whether it's United Stand or FIFA. So, and it's normally only maybe one every few days that comes out. But yeah,
well, that's the thing. You do so much content, don't you? You only get those little clips, but you produce so much. It's going to happen, really.
And on the United Stand, I mean, I can't remember how long we've been doing the United Stand, but I work with the Draughty Devil on the United Stand, and we've done stuff like. We've been doing funny stuff for a long time, and there is stuff there that if people could be asked, they could go and find. So yeah, there's probably gold. There's probably absolute gold stuff back in the annals of the anal stand, the United Stand. But yeah, so we do just keep doing what we're doing, really. And I think new people come to it and they get a bit suspicious about it. But I think in the long term that a lot of people start to realise that no, it is just the way we do our content.
Yeah, I mean, things like is Pogba still washing his jeans and those sorts of things. I mean, were they completely spontaneous? I mean, you had like Jose and his beans on toast and all those sort of analogies.
Yeah, because that's just what I'm like, whether it's with my friends down the pub or anything like that. The amount of times I'll go, it's like this. I mean, my favourite one that I ever saw back, which I don't really remember doing, was the Renault Espace, where it's like a family trip to Cornwall.
I think this is like a family trip to Cornwall in the Renault Espace, which is a car, and we filled the petrol up with the car, and that petrol will get us exactly to our destination. Cornwall is a UK holiday destination down on the south west coast. Anyway, we filled the petrol up. We can make it to Cornwall, and this is Mourinho's sort of drive to the title, which is what was meant to happen in the third year, right? The reason I think Mourinho can't turn this round is because, like that family trip to Cornwall in the Renault Espace, somebody shot a couple of holes in it, Brighton and Spurs, and they're big holes, and the petrol's leaking, and we're on that journey to Cornwall. We're never going to make it. We're never going to make it. Now, I don't know whether we're going to make it to Christmas, which let's say that's Bristol. I don't know whether we're going to make it to October, which is Gloucester, or maybe we're going to make it all the way to Exeter, which is March. I don't know how long we're going to make it, but we're not going to make it to where we want to get under Mourinho.
That just came into my head, and within seconds it's manifested itself into, well, Plymouth is halfway, Gloucester's halfway there, Plymouth's nearly there, we're probably not going to make Coventry. And that's just the way my brain works. So those are probably easier to me than doing the sort of one line sort of analogy, really. The stories are easy because that's just the way my brain works. It's like Goldbridge's club I was on about the other night with the Argentinian girl and the French girl being Zidane and this, and they're giving you art. I mean, that's just easy to me. And if people find it funny, great. But to me, that's just the way my brain works. Yeah. And
in a weird way, they seem to somehow work, those analogies, in a strange way. I think that's why people like them so much.
Not always. I've seen the live comments before going, "You've absolutely lost us, Mark. Come back." Yeah. Because the stories become so good in my head, I'm forgetting that I'm actually streaming a United Stand thing. So, but yeah. Sometimes they do work. Yeah.
So I couldn't talk to you without talking about DT.
Yeah.
So I obviously had to bring that up at some point. Now you've obviously said you're not wanting to do a boxing match, and I think that's something that's not going to happen quite clearly. I would like to see you sit down and chat with him, though, at some point. Would you ever consider that? I mean, almost like they do in pre-boxing matches, where they sit face to face. I'd quite like to see you do something like that? Is that something that's possible?
I would like to do it, and I'd like to do it sort of probably 2 steps away from where we are at the moment, so that there's still a lot of frustration and dislike there. I think that would make for a really good chat. I wouldn't like to, let's all be friends again and then just go and have a chat, because I think that would be boring, and I don't think we'd ever get to that stage. But yeah, I would like to do it, but the issue with that is, and funnily enough, because we're playing Arsenal are playing United next week. There's been some people saying you should do it, but I don't think there's a willingness from his side, and there's certainly not one from mine at the moment until certain things are done from his side. Because look, as I say, I like a bit of banter, but when somebody doesn't understand the sort of arena you're in and takes it to a level that is, not nice, then that for me is where I say, right, doesn't matter what you want in the future, I ain't going to discuss it with you. But hopefully that in the future something can be resolved where we can do it, because we both operate in the same sort of arena. And I think I'm personally quite bored of the whole pocket thing and everything like that. I mean, he was put in my pocket and we did win a game of football, but it's 2019 now, so there needs to be a sort of resolution or a moving on from it, certainly. But I think things will happen next week. I've heard that he's going to do contact next week with somebody to talk about it, and I'm like, it's a bit odd when you've spent 3 months trying to keep it quiet, but we'll see what the future holds. I'm quite relaxed about it, really.
Hypothetically, if you were to box him, obviously not going to, but if you were to, who would win?
Well, having played football against him, I think we're pretty much similar in size. He's obviously carrying a bit more weight than me, but I think I'm definitely quicker than him. Right. And I have had some training in that sort of arena from the work that I've done in the past. So I don't know. I don't really know anything about him, but I think I'd probably hold my own in it. But the reason I wouldn't do it is, one, I just totally and utterly ridiculed what happened with KSI and Mr. Paul, and also I just don't really. I like boxing as a sport, but I'm not really a massive fan of violence. And boxing is a sport, isn't it? It's like, you don't necessarily hate somebody, although they'll build it up. This would be 2 people going into a ring because they dislike each other, and for me, that's not sending the right message to people anyway. So I'd rather have a game of chess.
I know. I'd like to see that. That's probably one of the only.
I'd smash him at chess. I'd kick his ass at chess. He probably wouldn't take any of mine. It would be an absolute thrashing. But yeah.
There's not many times I'd actually watch someone play chess against someone else, but that would be one of the times. You versus DT, I think that has to happen.
Rage chess. Maybe that's something else, because if I lose at chess and just chuck the bits on the floor, you pigging, stupid king. So yeah, good, yeah.
But another question I'd like to ask. Now, this one's a bit of a strange one, because obviously you run a fan channel yourself. But in general, what are your opinions of fan channels? Do you think in general they're a good thing? Because, some people say they can embarrass a football club or a fan base, and there's other people that say actually they give a voice for the football club.
I think the best representation of a fan channel, maybe not in a positive way, but certainly because they are the biggest and the most high profile, is Arsenal Fan TV. And I think they sort of symbolise, because I know Robbie quite well, and I think obviously with all the Wenger stuff, they were going, viral, massive videos with their fan cams. Then Emery comes in, they have the 22 unmatched beaten run, and everyone's like, Arsenal Fan TV's dead. And then over the last few weeks, they've had bad results again, and it's on the front page again. So fan channels definitely benefit from bad results, controversy, but the funny flip side of that is the United stand, whilst it's had some viral fan cams when there's been bad results under Mourinho, actually our biggest month of last season was the last 2 weeks when Mourinho got sacked and Oli came in.
Right.
And the biggest videos we've had before that was the Europa League final. So I like the United stand because, obviously the negative stuff will always get you views, but we've done very well with content when there's been positive things. I think the worst time is the mundane time when you're just drawing at home to Crystal Palace or stuff like that. But to answer the question, the fan channel medium, I think is absolutely fantastic, because it offers something to the most important group in football to me, which is the fans, which is why I wanted to do it. And I think the mainstream media do a very good job, but they'll never be able to have the conversations that you get on fan channels, because people will swear, people will be very, very opinionated on players. Like, I think the mainstream media try to do it, and they do interview fans, but they've never ever put a clip of somebody saying Jesse Lingard is an absolute terrible footballer and I can't stand him and I wish he'd leave my club. They would never put that up, and that's pretty tame compared to what you can get.
Yes,
so
yeah.
And I like Jesse Lingard, by the way. It's only because he's doing his video yesterday and he's getting a lot of stick for it. So it came to mind. So I think it's absolutely fantastic. And as long as people want it, I think it will continue to be quite a big platform for football fans.
On to more serious questions now. Snog, marry, avoid. David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho.
I'd avoid David Moyes. I can't stand David Moyes. I'd probably snog Van Gaal, and I'd marry Mourinho because I do like Jose Mourinho. I just think his career ended at Chelsea after he'd won the title, and I don't know what's gone wrong with the bloke. But before that, I really disliked him, which for me shows that I really liked him because he was obviously doing a good job with clubs that were competitive with ourselves. So yeah, I like Mourinho. I just don't like what he did at United. Yeah.
Do you think he'll end up at Madrid again?
I do. I think he will end up at Madrid. I don't know what their result was this week. I think they played last night or something, but they definitely need somebody, and I think he will go there.
I've also got some questions in from people that have sent them in on Twitter and Instagram. Have you seen how Leeds are doing? Have you looked at the fact that we're going to get promoted, hopefully, this season?
Are you a Leeds fan, are you?
Yes, I am, yeah.
I would have done this video. No, you know what? I said this on playing FIFA yesterday, actually. Somebody asked this, and I said, look, Leeds, I don't like Leeds because they're a rival of Manchester United, but I actually wouldn't want Liverpool to get relegated. And I would love to see Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday, obviously Forest and Villa. I'd love those 4 clubs to come into the Premier League, and we can kick out Brighton, Burnley, Bournemouth, and Huddersfield. Because I'm bored of that. I had that 20 years ago when Barnsley got promoted. It was like, oh, it's really romantic, but it happens every year. Let's get the big clubs back in. And I think it would make our season harder because we'd have 2 games against a team that's going to absolutely give everything. But it'd be another game where, like this weekend, we've got Brighton at home. That could be Leeds at home. So it's another. Yeah. I love the tougher games. It's what that's what we watch football for. So, and I think the manager is just very, very charismatic as well. So I hope they do get promoted. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about Bielsa? Have you seen everything that's happened over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I just think at least he's being honest about the scouting and the spying and that. And look, I just think I'm a lot older than a lot of people, and I grew up in a time where snooker, tennis, football had personality and characters. And there's not enough of that now. So if you've got somebody who, even if it's controversial character, as long as they're not doing anything, like racist or homophobic or anything like that, then, I'm all for characters like that are what makes people interested. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
Do you reckon we will get promoted?
I haven't actually looked at the league recently. I mean, are you top?
We're top by 4 points, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, the Championship is, because of where I live, I know a lot of Villa fans and Birmingham fans and West Brom fans now. I forgot they were in it as well. So, it's just a ridiculously hard league, the Championship. It's a shame it's not in Scotland because it would be 10 times better than the crap that they put out. It's a brilliant league in its own right, and the quality's gone up, and there's always a close gap between relegation and playoffs. The games are so quick fire as well. You could lose 3 or 4 and be back in the playoffs. But I think they're in a good position. I suppose it's just whether they can be strong mentally, especially. I suppose that Bielsa thing probably puts a bit of pressure on them as well because they'll be sort of disliked a lot, and I suppose at away grounds people will be baying referees to give stuff. But I think they will get up. I think they will. I hope they do. Like I say, I hope it's some of the big, well-known names that go up. I mean, I wouldn't even mind Norwich coming up as well.
I mean, I think Leeds thrive on being hated by everyone. That seems to really sort of get everyone going, I think. I mean, we saw it in the game against Derby. I think that really benefited us. We looked like the better team quite comfortably in that game.
Well, yeah, Derby are a good team, as we know. Phil Jones and his pink boots. That's where that was born. And he's never worn them again. See, people think footballers aren't interactive with social media just because they don't follow you and they're not allowed to reply stuff. They watch stuff, and I don't think it's lost on Phil Jones that he doesn't wear pink boots anymore. In fact, I heard Bonfire Night he had a big fire and burnt about 10 pairs. So But no, yeah, Derby are a very good team, as we saw against Southampton as well. So, you know, Leeds are a step above that. So they should be going up, and it'd be interesting to see. I don't know what the financial situation is as to whether they'd spend money, because I think you need to do that in your first year.
You briefly touched on it there. Do you think you do see a lot of footballers watching your videos? Because I imagine Phil Jones, like I say, probably has seen the pink boots things. It did go around everywhere.
I think the great thing is about the United Stand is that nobody would be allowed to admit that they watch it, because we're sort of controversial in the. Oh, it's not controversial. It's a fan channel. It's a proper fan channel. I mean, when we first started doing the United Stand, there was a lot of old school United fans who hated us, and then over the years they'll send a direct message and say, I can't ever let anybody know, but I do watch it and I do like you, keep doing what you're doing. And some of the abuse she gets is terrible. And I love that, because it's like they'll never publicly admit it, but they do watch it. So it makes you think, who watches it but could never admit it? Like, I've heard some fans go, oh yeah, we know such and such watches it, and, you know, talking about players for their clubs who watch it. And some have even been on channels like, you know, the Liverpool channel. They've had like Klopp on and stuff like that. We'd never get that, and I don't ever want that, because I think then you become something you're not, because you've got to be a crowd pleaser. Then you've got to play for likes, you've got to watch what you're saying. But yeah, no, look, we don't gloat about it, but I do know for a fact that there's a number of people who watch it. I mean, apparently Robbie Williams likes me.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. So, you know, that's even more ridiculous than maybe footballers watching a football channel. To have somebody like that, who's a global superstar, watching me play FIFA is just, you know, not in a, oh, I'm so happy about it. It's just odd in a good way. But so, you know, it's probably people who've watched the video you've done. We just don't know. There will be people who are watching it all the time, and these people have got a lot of time on their hands as well. They've got more spare time than we have, so they'll be watching all sorts of crap.
Yeah.
Not that what we do is crap. But
would you consider doing a video of Robbie Williams if you wanted to do a duet or something, or just a normal video chat?
I would be all over that. I would love it.
I'd like to see a charity single.
A single or a five-a-side or a FIFA game. I would love to do it. So yeah, you know,
Robbie, if you're watching, do you think that Solskjaer is the best thing that's happened to Man United since Fergie left?
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to say, because David Moyes was terrible. Van Gaal I didn't like either, and Mourinho was obviously abysmal. So it's amazing to be saying it when he's only been here a month, but it's certainly the best period of feel good that we've had at Manchester United since Sir Alex Ferguson. So how long it will continue, I don't know. I think we need to be patient, and we don't need to make a decision on our manager, because, you know, there are other managers out there, Zidane, maybe Pochettino. So, but it's an enjoyable time for United, because our season was over, and I don't think anyone expected that we could get back in a race for top four, which is really exciting.
It's a little bit frustrating to see you now actually starting to play a bit better as a Leeds fan. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy that moment where you were sort of, you know, mid-table or sixth, wherever. It was quite good to see, but at the same time, it was pretty bad for English football. I don't think it was a coincidence that we started doing worse in the Champions League. Obviously, now you've got a new manager with Solskjaer. You are looking like you're playing better football. You've also got the second best goalkeeper in the league as well, which is always helpful.
Who's the best then?
Ederson.
What?
Ederson.
I thought you were going to go Alisson, but
no, Ederson.
Well, you definitely lost that. I don't even need to fight back then. It's all about opinion. You're wrong, but it's all about opinion. It's your show. But no, De Gea is the best in the world. I've said it for a long time. That's my opinion, and I wouldn't even have Ederson as the second. I would go Alisson after him in the Premier League. But I do have Ederson in goal for FIFA. He's absolutely crap. I need to get rid of him, actually.
Right, so that's everything from us today. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much to Mark for coming on as well, having a chat with us. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys shortly for another video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out Mark's links in the link in the description below. All three channels. If you haven't subscribed to them, go check it out there. I'll see you guys shortly for another video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. And so yeah, I think that's everything for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. I'd really appreciate all the support you guys can give me. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already as well. And I'll be back shortly for some of my regular videos that I do. Hope you guys look forward to them. I'll see you guys shortly. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter as well, at GameFaceHD, and on Instagram at GameFaceHD as well. Links to all that in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.